Good evening. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. It gives me great pleasure to extend to you all a very warm welcome to the technical webinar series titled PI Connoisseur, which is being organized by the Department of Production and Industrial Engineering, BIT Mesra, in collaboration with Society of Industrial Management and Engineering. Today we are hosting the third event of this technical webinar series. It is my honor to introduce you to the expert speaker of today's event. Today we have with us Sri Saurabh Bats, Director, Business Development, Cloud Business, Oracle. We will deliver a talk on cloud, the journey now and ahead. Sri Saurabh Bats is currently Director, Business Development in Oracle, wherein he looks after the Oracle cloud business, especially in the central government, state government, and PSUs. Srivatsa has worked earlier in companies such as Accenture, PwC, and American Express. He has done his bachelor's in economics from Delhi University and master from IMT Ghaziabad. Now I cordially invite Sri Saurabh Bats to enlighten the audience by sharing his knowledge and experience on cloud, the journey now and ahead.
Uh, First of all, very good evening to all of you. Thank you, Dr. Acharji, for a great introduction. I'd also like to extend my deepest gratitude and thanks to Vinay sir and also Sanjeev sir, who were encouraging enough to for me to come on board to talk to you all about the cloud thing that I am looking at. So this is not going to be a very technical kind of a presentation. Since I am more from the business side, so I interact often with the industry. So as Acharya sir told in my bio that I look after all the central government ministries, some of the central government ministries, states, PSUs, etc. For the cloud evangelization for Oracle. And exactly, I would like to tell you that where this entire technology is going through, what all is happening on cloud, where the journey is going to, what it has been, how it has evolved, and where it is going to get, and the kind of massive scale that it has already achieved. We all have witnessed the COVID pandemic times, where I think this is a change agent. So in history, there are few occasions or landmarks which are considered to be change agents in the journey of any industry. I think COVID, fortunately or unfortunately, is a great change agent, especially for the tech part of the business. Uh, Also, slightly on the industry side, where the industry is going in terms of employability and all those things. Uh, on one hand, you see there is a massive churn as far as few of the earlier erstwhile stable business were concerned. So if you look at finance today, if you look at HR function today, which were fairly stable in the earlier days from the employability standpoint, stands to lose today in this world because technology is disrupting the entire landscape. I'd just like to start with my presentation now on this note, and I'd just like to share. Uh, uh, no, just a second. I can't find the presentation, how to share that here. Just a second. Just give me a second. It is not allowing me to share my presentation. Sir, I'm not very well versed with Google Meet as either. So
Sanjeev, Sanjeev, Dr. Sanjeev, sir, it's not allowing you.
no, it is not allowing me.
Just give us a second.
So it is saying Outlook, no, Acrobat Reader, no. Finder, if I go share, no.
See, there is a presentation sharing near to the hand. There is a hand gesture is there.
Yeah, the
Just near
present
to
now.
that,
There's a present now button, right?
if you click it, then it will be there to present your slide.
No, it is showing, it is giving me an option of entire screen, a window or a tab. When
Yes.
I do the entire screen, the
Yeah,
problem,
yeah, yeah. You have to do that. You have to share the part of the screen. Then the slide will be there.
just give me a second. Might not have screen recording permission. Computer, go to system preference for more. Uh, Google
Sir,
Chrome might not have screen sharing, screen
sir,
recording. Right.
sir, you please share your entire screen
Okay.
and then
It is not allowing me actually. When I am clicking on the screen now,
yes.
it is saying Google Chrome might not have screen recording permission on your computer. Go to system preference. System preference. Um, just a second. Chrome microphone.
I think you can share your PPT with Sanjeev. Sanjeev can also upload or share live.
Should I send him in an email?
Sanjeev ji, I think that can be alternate option.
Yes, yes. Kindly send that.
I'll just try once more. Share. No, it is not allowing. Just a sec.
Sir, please send your presentation on my mail so that I can present it.
Sir, again, this is, I think size is 41 MB. It's not going through. Should I send it through Google
You
Mail?
can share by Google Drive also.
Are you in MacBook, sir?
MacBook, yeah.
Okay. Suresh,
Uh, Anything, I mean, tab
Yes, sir.
it is not allowing me. Launch meeting.
Hello,
Suresh, you have a solution?
sir. Then um, सर को सर सिक्योरिटी ऑप्शन चेंज करना होगा गूगल क्रोम का.
Sir, now it is presenting now.
It is presenting?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
yes. Yeah,
Oh,
your screen is now visible.
I don't know what I did, but thank God. Just
Sir, your microphone is mute.
just give me a second. I tabbed what? I tabbed a window. Microsoft Outlook, PowerPoint. Just a second. Might not have recording permission again. Tab. Share. I do that. Is it coming?
Yes.
Is it coming now? Am I audible? सर पता नहीं कुछ गड़बड़ हो रही है मुझे लग रहा है टैब में भी नहीं
Saurabh ji, I feel you better share the link in Google Drive with Sanjeev.
हाँ क्योंकि इसमें ना इश्यूज लग रहे हैं मुझे
That will be better, I think.
एक्चुअली सर वो साइज बड़ी है मेरे ख्याल से अगेन दिस एक मिनट में ट्राई लास्ट करता हूँ इसको देता है शेयर करने क्या नहीं अभी नहीं दे रहा टैब नहीं सर मैं कोशिश करता हूँ सेंड करने की एक मिनट
सर व्हाट्सएप में भी भेज सकते हैं
एक
Sir, you can share the PPT in my WhatsApp.
ओके I'll just have to एक सेकंड सर MB क्यों बता रहा है
सर
सर
आपका मैकबुक छोड़ के और कोई है
मैकबुक छोड़ के तो
इफ यू कैन यूज द टैब आल्सो टैब or from your phone. I think it's problem with the security of the MacBook.
अच्छा फोन से हो जाएगा क्या
हाँ हो जाएगा
फोन में भी आईफोन है एक काम कर सकते हैं काम कर सकते हैं Let me just try this.
Sir, your microphone is muted.
I'm saying sir कि file is slightly heavier so it is not going actually वो भी करके देखा मैंने
Okay, no issue. Take your time.
So the contents of the screen with Meet Google if I say yes. That system preference पे भी जा रहा हूँ the same Google Chrome just microphone accessibility I think there is some privacy issues with Google Chrome. Privacy issue with Google Chrome. Just
Sir, you can convert the PPT in PDF and then you can send it to us.
Just give me a second, sir. I'm exactly doing that. Just give me a second.
Hello.
Sir, does that zip
Just,
file?
just a minute, sir.
Yeah.
I think I have a solution here. I have just Googled it. How to use screen sharing in Google Meet on Mac Windows. So here join now, then present now, then you might be getting this screen. Can't share a screen, system preferences, right?
Yeah.
Then click on this, select this. Google Chrome.
So,
And then you can start presenting, I think. Just try this. System preference.
System preference, I went.
Then
preference.
this will automatically take you to security and privacy screen.
प्रॉब्लम इज सर कि वहां पे वो ना मुझे क्लिक करना ही नहीं दे रहा. आई हैव सेंड यू जिप फाइल वैसे.
ओके नो इशू.
सर एक बार जरा देख लेंगे प्लीज. Has it reached?
Sanjeev?
No, sir.
मेरे यहाँ से तो चला गया है. Sent.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you have a Safari browser?
Yeah, I have a Safari browser.
Then join it from Safari browser, sir. It may allow to share your screen.
All right. Okay. Let me just. Okay.
Sir, your voice is not audible.
Just a second.
Yes, now it is visible, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. So this is what is called closed systems. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
So once again, sorry for this hiccup. I would just like to continue from where I left. So I'm just going to talk about on a brief business side of it, of the technology, where it is taking us, what all is happening in our space, in our country, in our industry, and how we can see that arc actually when we, from an employability standpoint or from a starting standpoint, especially for the students who want to go into the industry, they should definitely look at the system which is going to be there 5 years down the line, because the rate of change, the rate itself is so high, rate of change itself is so high that after 5 years probably you'll have to adapt to a new technology, new paradigm altogether. Because I've been in the industry for the last almost 19 years or so. I've seen many such kind of blocks that you can say that how the first wave or the second wave or third wave or the fourth wave of technology was defined. And today the technology is defined properly by the cloud. So this is safe harbors which our company gives us to present. So this is the slide that I put it very deliberately. Our humanity is a shared experience with everyone we meet. Uh, so the entire, if you think of the human evolution, you will see that whatever experience that we have derived from, it has come from a shared experience by meeting people. Nowadays, it has been a human touch has been replaced by technology. If I see my phone at the end of the week, it says that you have spent around 8 hours in a day on your phone. So whatever has been used to be derived from a human interactions earlier are being derived from machines now. So humans are interacting more with the machines rather than humans. And this is where the technology is leading us into. Very interestingly, Gartner, I'll just like to take you to the Gartner top strategic technology trends for 2021. I would say the major ones were not even there or not even there if you were talking about it probably a year back. The first one itself is very, very interesting. It's called Internet of Behaviors. Now, what is Internet of Behaviors? Very, very interesting stuff that they have come out with. You look at all the categories and all the technology drivers for 2021 that Gartner has put. You will see that they are not normal technology things that we adhere to or we refer to, but rather than they are more driving towards how the technology is changing your behavior. So if you talk about Internet of Behavior, very interestingly, it talks about how the data is changing behaviors. With the increase in technology, which gathers the digital dust of daily lives. So you use Facebook, you use social medias like Twitter, Instagram, or anything that for that matter. So any technology which is gathering your digital dust, whatever you are spending your time on a daily life, and that spans the digital and physical world can be used to influence behaviors through feedback loops. This is what the Internet of Behaviors is all about. And this is how the entire behavior is getting changed. If you look at the entire scenario today in the entire world, you have seen how powerful Twitter has been in terms of changing the opinions of the people, and how powerful the technology firms are also getting into. So just to give you an example, that in the last election, Joe Biden and Trump's election, when Twitter shut Trump up, he was actually furious because it was the only mechanism through which he could push his agenda, and people were consuming that agenda. So big tech versus common people, this is what the situation has come into. And where big tech is getting all this data from? Where is big tech is getting all their analysis from? Because as they say, data is the new oil. The more data you have in your system, the better prepared you are to manipulate that data the way you want to. And that is where the ethical side of AI also comes into the play. Then you see here, it's called total experience strategy. Total experience strategy is nothing but a complete combined experience of users, combined experience of the customers, combined experience of the employees. So everything, when it is a combined experience for the whole group, it's called the total experience. So the focus is on total experience rather than the silo experience to a particular group. And this is where, again, if you look at big techs, they have been very, very successful at that. Privacy enhancing, as technologies is getting all pervasive in our daily lives, privacy is very, very important. And it behoves of every technology leader or a provider to give its user the most privacy centric technology that a user should feel safe about. Then you have distributed cloud. Cloud is a buzzword nowadays. You will see the numbers. It's mind-boggling the way it is going, the way we are seeing the shift in the mindset of people, because I am dealing with the government, and government is a slow elephant, by the way. They don't want to give too much initially. But gradually, when we see interact more with them, gradually, if you see the massive scale of vaccination done by Coven, they could achieve that scale only because they had the technology behind it to scale. Had they had they chosen the earlier technology of keeping everything under their own sort of a premise, they would have fallen flat. So you see these kind of trends where it is leading to, and also government is also changing. Government is also massively looking at. If you see the recent announcements by the prime ministers, be it around the logistics part, Gati Shakti project, I am working on that. That is why I can tell you for sure, it is a mammoth exercise on a massive scale, and it will probably consume all the technology types that you will see tomorrow. So these kind of technology initiatives are being considered by the government, be it in healthcare, be it in education. In education, I was interacting today with Additional Secretary, Ministry of Education, who is looking after the entire digital education stuff for the country. The numbers are absolutely mind-boggling. You cannot imagine that in the COVID times, the percentage, the total population of students who took the digital medium of education, which is a portal called Diksha portal, the total number of students that took that platform and used that platform were 25 crores. It's every day I'm talking about. It's not that 25 crores in a year. 25 crore students taking Diksha platform to learn. So this is the kind of the scale, and frankly speaking, government also didn't realize this when they launched the digital initiative in 2017-18. So it has totally disrupted the entire gamut of sectors that we are talking about. Since we are here addressing production engineering, I also happen to interact with a lot of oil and gas companies which deal in the upstream sector. The moment you go and talk to any CXO level people there, be it directors or CMDs or CIOs, everybody is talking about machine data, which they did not even bother about earlier. They just used to store that data, dump it in a data warehouse, and that's it. Forget it. Today, everybody wants to analyze what the machine is throwing. So you have these rigs in oil wells, they are throwing data. You have this massive systems that are built for oil extraction and all. They are throwing in machine data and all. People want to analyze it to better predict. Earlier, the organizations that I'm talking about, they used to work in their silos. So they had all the verticals. For example, if you take about oil and gas, they used to have different verticals around production, then field services, then offshore, then onshore. These kind of verticalized environment were there, and IT was also verticalized that way. But now everything is synergizing together. Everybody is coming to a common meeting point, because data, there is going to be a trend of single data model, and that is where the cloud brings its value from. The single data model, which is the single source of truth for anything that you want to do. You want to build your applications, you want to do your analytics, you want to do whatever you want to do, machine learning and all those things. So the data structure has changed, and the data definition also has changed. So the data model is now a single source of truth kind of a data model, which basically fits in all the possible scenarios of application development or analytical space that we are talking about. So this is the cloud story. In 2021, the cloud market is supposed to end at $706 billion. In 2025, it's going to be 1,300 billion, which is like $1.3 trillion. And I will show you a very interesting slide going forward. You can see the scale. It was not there. I am telling you from the fact, from my experience. If you talked about it, probably in the year 15, 16, 17, everybody would just shrug off. No, our cloud means Google. They only used to understand that we have a mail client on our computers and there is a server somewhere in the US, and we are getting our mails from that server, and that is what cloud meant at that time. But the entire aspect of clouds has gone a massive transformation now, and that is why you're seeing the entire shift of the industry from an on-premise kind of a development deployment model to a cloud deployment model. Because the very interesting fact is that you would also recognize that what it brings to the table, why people want to deploy in the cloud. Because very simple reason. From a decision makers, it's a very simple proposition that it saves a lot of cost for me. From a technology provider, it also saves on the unnecessary hardware sort of a maintenance or application maintenance. They can offload everything now to a vendor and do a more qualitative work in their own organization. And I'll tell you that what my organization is doing also. We are not only simply sitting on the application front that, okay, this is the application that we have built and you have to do certain things. Now the AI piece, which I'm going to talk about in futuristic technology, you will see that entire gamut of application is being pervaded by this AI and ML technology. You see today that the database itself, if you talk about Oracle database, you can see on the internet. So we have come out with autonomous database. Basically what it means that the entire work of the DBA, database administration, is gone. DBA role is finished because the entire patching, entire tuning, entire upgradation, everything is taken care of automatically. You don't have to do anything. No human intervention is required. It also adds on to the data accuracy. It also adds to the data security. It also adds to the data pilferage. Less of data pilferage and less of data manipulation also. So this is why this cloud is being adopted by each and every organization, because it gives them a kind of a scale that they want to achieve. It also gives them elasticity. Elasticity means earlier, for example, just to give an example that many of you file income tax, there is a certain deadline that, okay, on this date, you have to finally, there is a closure. Massive peaks are seen probably 3-4 days before, prior to that deadline. And rest of the year, the system would be sort of not optimized. But what they had to do earlier, they had to provision for the peak hours. And the peak hours meant that they had to max out their capacity planning, not looking at the average consumption, but looking at the maximum consumption. And this is not only from the transactional systems that we are talking about. Even if you talk about, for example, election commission, unless and until election happens, there is no peak in election commission as far as data transactions are concerned. But they had to provision it for the massive general elections. So people are now realizing that what it brings also to the table is the elasticity. When we want more, we can get more. When we want to go less, we can go lesser very, very quickly, fairly quickly. You don't have to do anything. Provisioning is happening at the click of a button today. So this is what the cloud is bringing to the table. Again, very interesting IDC forecast. The global economy will finally reach digital supremacy with more than half of GDP driven by products and services from digitally transformed enterprises. So this is the kind of scale that we are looking at. Again, very interesting slide. So this is from our side, Oracle surveyed, and this is what the CIOs or the decision makers of the organization are saying. You see the all greens? They all want to invest in cloud. So earlier this yellow bar used to be longer, but gradually as we are progressing year by year, people are shifting. And this is a massive, massive shift at a very, very fast pace. So everybody has to adopt. You see today that Google was not a cloud player. You see today Microsoft, the reinvention of Microsoft and reinvention of so-called the brand of Microsoft has been saved by cloud itself, which Satya Nadella brought to the table when he took over as CEO. Same in our company. So every company which did not have a cloud strategy probably 10 years back or 7 years back, this has become the centerpiece of every company's, big companies' technology, if you're talking about the IT companies, as far as IT companies are concerned. Now, this is why typically the cloud looks like. These are the flavors. Everybody, I think, must be aware of this. So there are three models. One is infrastructure as a service, wherein you have all the three layers. The bottom layers are taken care of by the vendors, for example, networking, storage, servers, virtualization, and the application and the platform level is taken care of by the customer. Then you have PaaS, platform as a service is called PaaS. Infrastructure as a service, which I talked about, is called IaaS. Now, PaaS includes your hardware requirements plus also the platform piece, which is your database, your all the integration tools and everything. And you are only left with probably managing the application piece. Then you have the SaaS model, which is like end-to-end cloud, end-to-end cloudified. Whether this is your application, whether it is your database, whether it is your middleware, or whether it is your hardware or networking and virtualization and everything. So these three are the flavors of cloud today. Many companies, fortunately for Oracle, because we bought Sun in the year 2000, I think 2012-13, we have a very robust IaaS services. Database, Oracle is famous for, and application also, ERP, we are the leading. If you see the Gartner report, we have been, I think, 42 times leaders in the Gartner's quadrant, if you're talking about the ERP and HR space there. So fortunately for us, we operate in all the three flavors, whether it is SaaS, whether it is platform as a service, or whether it is infrastructure as a service. Many companies you would see that they specialize in one or two probably components. None of the players have all the three components. So we are the only companies that claim that we have all the components of cloud in-house. I talked about this earlier, and this is where the application, you will see the word cloud natives as a buzzword in many of the conversations that you do nowadays with the industry. So application needs to be cloud native. Basically what it means is application needs to be born in the cloud. So if you see today, I don't know whether you have heard of companies, must have heard of companies like Salesforce. They were born in cloud, and look at where they are. The massive revenue that they generate, I think 35 billions or something of that sort every year. So Netflix, Amazon Prime, Amazon itself, Amazon Web Services, it was born on cloud. So any applications which is developed right into the cloud is called cloud native applications, and they have the capability. They are designed and engineered in such a way that they have the capability to inculcate all the cloud, you can say all the cloud parameters. So I told you that because the cloud natives provides you to have your data as a single source of truth. It's a single data model. On top of that, you can do your analytics, business processing, be it put it in your application, different applications that you may want to build for your organization. We talked about this. The only thing that I want to bring it here is the bottom part. So cloud also today, if you see, it has three flavors. One is the public cloud, and that is the most popular because it is first, it is cheapest also. But because of regulatory and data residency requirements, the governments of different governments are coming up with policies that country's data need to reside in the country. And that is why everybody is building their own sort of cloud infrastructure in the country. So Oracle also has its cloud data centers in Mumbai and Hyderabad in India today, and it is also MITRE compliant. So for you to do business in cloud, especially for the government and PSUs, you have to be MITRE compliant. So MITRE has given guidelines to which everybody follows. So this is, I'm talking about public cloud. Then you have cloud at customer. Now, this is a very interesting concept. Now, the cloud at customer, what does it mean is that we take care of your entire cloud portion, be it infrastructure, application, but we will run it into your own firewall. If you don't want your data to move out, if you're slightly hesitant, especially in the sectors, if you're talking about be it finance or be it defense, these are the sectors specifically which are very, very sensitive in nature, which doesn't want its data to move out of their premise. So we have that flavor of cloud at customer where you get the entire capability of cloud inside your own premises. So entire capability of cloud means you can run your database as a PaaS service. You can run your application there as a SaaS model, and also the infrastructure piece, which you don't have to pay upfront, and you don't have to manage also. So this is one flavor. The other flavor, and then you have the holy grail of you can say the private cloud model, which is also called dedicated regions. These are nothing but we just require probably in space and a cooling from you, and then entire thing is ours. We build entire infrastructure, we give you all the cloud services. It is entirely inside your own firewall. Data does not leave from your organization. We do not have any link whatsoever. So manageability is also given to the customer. It doesn't, the manageability piece also we don't own. It's the way I mean, it is very, very expensive model, but especially for defense, especially in the countries like I would say Israel has done this, then Australia has done it recently, UK is also doing it. So they are also going for dedicated kind of region for specific sectors such as defense and sectors of national importance. So this is what typical cloud infrastructure portfolio looks like. You have compute, then you have different versions of different flavors of compute, which is VMs, bare metals, GPUs, VMware, high performance computing, which is HPC, containerized Kubernetes kind of a compute. Then you have storage, different flavors again, block storage, object storage, file storage, boot volume, and active storage. Connectivity, you have every flavor that you can think of, which is VPN, Fast Connect, and Backbone. Networking also the same. You have everything as provisioned as a cloud service. Database again, entire flavor of database. Be it, so Oracle, by the way, is known for its database, but it is that one product is proprietary database, and the other product is MySQL, which is the open source database and adopted by many organizations. It's the world #1 open source database currently. So database flavors, all kind of database you have, analytics, big data analytics, or you talk about streaming, streaming services, for example, any IoT kind of environment or a pipe kind of environment which is giving you data on a fly. So that kind of stream analytics is possible on cloud. DevOps, you have everything again, API to functions. So these are basically all the features otherwise that you would have imagined in your own sort of a premise is available on the cloud right now. So nothing is. I don't think there is anything which is left which we can say that, oh, this is only available on premise. This is not available on the cloud. So this is typically the first generation cloud. I mean, when they developed in first hand, what was the problem and how it got fixed in the second generation cloud. So we are currently into the second generation cloud. So the first generation had typical problems of scaling up, low latency, networking, clusters, clustering basically for availability, and all those things were slightly hiccup points for the first generation cloud, which has been duly addressed in the second generation cloud infrastructure that you have it today. Now, this is what I was talking about, and I would encourage everybody to use this from Oracle. It's free. So anybody who wants to develop anything, any application, they can use these services from Oracle. It's completely free. Autonomous database, I already talked about. It's a completely DBA-less database. You don't require any human intervention, and the performance is absolutely fantastic and phenomenal. compute and storage, networking, and notification. There are many more which are added every, I think, quarter. You may have a look at the website and you can get the information. But this is a free tier that we offer, and we would encourage everybody to, whosoever wants to be interested in developing anything on the cloud, they should use it. Now, this is interesting. Computing hardware used to be a capital asset, while data wasn't thought of an asset in the same way. Now, hardware is becoming as a service people buy in real time, and the lasting asset is the data. So this is the massive shift that we are talking about in terms of cloud adoption, that where it is going. So you see, earlier database, if you talk about the data, because data is the key to everything, and earlier the typical databases were catering to the relational types, OLTP and OLAP databases, and data types also were sort of relational. But now you can see the data types. They are IoT type data, key value data, big data, microservices data, ML data, spatial and graph data. And obviously, we have now solutions to cater to each and every type of data that is being thrown at the system. So the progress of data warehouse, I would say it started from data, then going into a data warehouse, then came big data. So big data basically had every form of data that you could think of, and then a big data warehouse. And nowadays it's called lake house. Then they opted for data lake, and now it's called lake house, which is data lake plus data warehouse. So this is where the entire management of data is going towards. It's called lake house. So it has every form of data that you could think of stored seamlessly, and then you can do analytics on top of that. So this is where I'm talking about why organization, because if you think about different functions of, especially in your segment or in our segment, whichever segment that you would like to look at. Earlier, IoT data was a no-no for any enterprise application, because nobody could figure it out, that how you want to read it. So there were many such data types which were not taken into a traditional database format. But since the advent of the newer technologies, and as we are moving forward, we can analyze each and every kind of a data. And especially with the advent of machine learning, it has just gone bonkers over the board. This is again the key word. The biggest challenge facing any organization today is how to outpace change. And change is so fast that it is not even a year now. I mean, last year we were doing something. Today we are given that this should be your focus. This is where the industry is going into probably, and that the 5-year period has shrunk into a 1-year period, and gradually probably by next 5 years it will shrunk into a monthly kind of an affair for us, where every month some change or the other will happen, and we'll need to focus on that. Now this is where the world is moving into, and I would encourage everybody to have a look at these things whenever they are planning for future. AI and ML are going to stay. There's no two ways about it. It is getting into a massive kind of a deployment. And the next generation or the next decade will be decided by, so probably every quarter of a decade, or every quarter of a century, or probably 2 decades would be defined by certain big things or big ticket items. I think the next 20 years, and the industry is also saying that it will be defined by how we use, or rather how proficient we are in AI and ML. So this is I would encourage everybody to have a look at these technologies specifically, because today organizations are, so if I talk about my organization, so if you talk about an application called ERP or CRM or HCM, which is human capital management, those were silo systems, applications, and those were done in a way. Today, we were just having a presentation done by our HQ, and I just could see that my CFO just put in a word command saying that just give me an P&L for this particular quarter, and the machine gave it to him. So it is going in, the AI and ML is getting pervaded into each and every existing application if the application has to survive. Otherwise, it will not survive. So this is how important this is. And obviously high performance computing, because everything, the lake house concept basically engulfs everything. Everything that is there to analyze has to be analyzed now. So this is where it is going into. Again, just to hone in to the point that I mentioned earlier, 84% companies today say that artificial intelligence is key to gain competitive advantage. And there's no two ways about it. We are seeing it day in and day out. Again, the same things, global trends. By 2024, AI will be integral to every part of the business, resulting in 25% of overall spend on AI solution. And this is massive considering the fact that prior to 3 years or 4 years, we were not even talking about it. So this is what is smart data. Nowadays, data needs to be scrubbed or done in a certain way that it has to become a smart data. That is what the endeavor of every enterprise today is. And here AI is basically driving the change to make the data usable in all sort of format and making it as a single source of truth for everything that we do today. And these are the numbers that you can see: 1 billion data point sources, 2.2 million new business added every year, 5.6 million scanned websites a month, and 21 million signals processed in a year. This is where the things are going. Now, this is how the AI basically works. And again, if you see the chart, this is the company data that it goes into the system, and we make the data as a smart data, as mean consumable, usable, so that it has multiple users. It can be used by everybody. So the data is scrubbed in such a way. Then you have data science algorithms on top of it, and AI modules put on top of it, so that you can do predictive forecasting, whatever predictive or analytical thing that you want to do. If you see the use cases today, and this is the ones I'm talking about that we talk day in and day out. If you talk at manufacturing, what the industry is doing around, the top priority for them, that how do we do our predictive and condition-based maintenance, how do we do demand forecasting, inventory management, how do we do price optimization, sustainability optimization, and so on. If you look at oil and gas, again, demand forecasting, process regulation, energy trading, insurance, automobile predictive maintenance is there, customer 360 is there, multimodal transportation, Gati Shakti, as you're talking about. So you see now that every aspect of the industry or the market is moving towards how do we accurately forecast things on the data that we have today. So this is the entire endeavor today. How do we accurately forecast anything with the data that we have today? This is again a very important piece on the cloud side, HPC. There is a huge uptake of GPU servers nowadays, because everything is in the form of graphs, pictures, spatial data, and those kind of data, which needs an intensive actually analysis to be done on. So I think many of you must have heard that the government has come out with a land revenue management system, wherein the earlier system of land records are to be done away with the new system. And the new system, basically, it'll have the drones mapping your land plots, and then they will match those land plots with the cadastral maps that your forefathers and probably which is in your name. And then if there is an anomaly, then they will go for a dispute resolution. Otherwise, you can see your piece of land on your portal. And the future is that if somebody wants to see their land, exactly, the buyer can see the seller's land in a proper fashion, so that all these I would say the nuisance value of middlemen are done away with. So this is again requiring a massive HPC kind of workload. This is again a slide which tells you that what kind of data types that HPC basically require. You can see each and everything, be it in a biology space or weather forecasting or satellite images or geostationary or I would say your oil and gas data. Everything needs high performance computing nowadays. This is what Oracle did. It's a very interesting program. So it's called Aspirational District Program, in which the government of India, it's being helmed by Niti Aayog Chairman Mr. Amitabh Kant, and it runs on Oracle. That's why we are talking about it. So in the Aspirational District Program, they took out the most laggard districts of the country, and then they gave each district magistrate a defined set of parameters on which they needed to work on and improve those indexes. And the entire data comes on a real-time basis. I mean, you have a big dashboard in Niti Aayog. If you go, you will see that, and the data changing every moment. And they have a weekly scorecard that on a particular parameter, which district has done better than the last time, and all those analysis is getting done, and everything is happening on the cloud. So if somebody says that cloud, probably your performance will be lesser because of high latency and stuff like that, absolutely, this is a bogus argument now. With increase in speed, data speed, and everything, you have probably a better predictability in terms of the kind of speed that you get from the cloud side. This is again one of the most important and very fascinating technology that country is considering today. I'll give you just one or two examples of this. So this is blockchain. Again, anybody who wants to look at an ahead technology for their career, they should definitely look at blockchain as one of the prime movers of going forward technology. So you have now the crypto. Everybody knows about it. Crypto is blockchain, but blockchain is not only crypto. Blockchain is much more. Wherever, just to give you a simple example, that wherever you have three party who have to deliver a common business. For example, if there is a bank involved, if there is a supplier, if there is a customer, and somebody has to give a bank guarantee. In any sort of that kind of a situation, blockchain is the most puritanical form of technology that you can look at. You cannot just tamper it. So there are many aspects in which this technology is being looked at in different organizations. IOCL, I know for sure that they are using blockchain for their dealer management and supply side. Many pharma industry, spurious drugs. So the drug supplier to the drug, the retailer to the drug supplier, and also to the logistics. So spurious drugs basically happens is like a supplier, for example, any big company sends out drugs on a truck, and in between some pilferage happens, and it is mixed with something of spurious drugs and reaches the retail segment, and it is sold as a genuine medicine. So these are the areas, and there are many more areas where this technology is going to be the centerpiece for addressing the challenges that we face today going forward. So anybody who is looking at futuristic technologies, there machine learning is one, blockchain is another, AI is nothing but enhanced version machine learning itself. Very interesting graph again. So who would have thought that if you look at this chart, it says that a study by McKinsey highlights public sector to be the biggest beneficiary of blockchain technology. And it shows that public sector is the biggest beneficiary of the blockchain technology. So everything that has a chance of pilferage, everything that has a chance of a missing piece, probably, which you can't trust, there the blockchain is your savior. And this is going to be adopted by Gati Shakti also. There's a talk of having this entire operation, multimodal transport into a blockchain kind of a technology. So this is again going to be the centerpiece of technology going forward. And this is the final one. So this is AI on the cloud is going to be the future. Not a scientist to predict this, but this is where the industry is leading into. So anybody who is aspiring to become relevant in another 10 years or so should definitely look at these technology in terms for their career growth and stuff. So this is where I would end my presentation. And thank you everybody for patiently listening to me. It was not a very tech kind of a presentation because anyways you are more intelligent than I am as far as technology is concerned. So there's no point of me telling you about technology. I just wanted to give you a very brief day-to-day that we experience. It is coming from what we are experiencing, and that is how I made the slides so that you can have a share of that experience. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir. So I thank Sri Bhags for presenting such an informative and captivating talk and sharing his knowledge and experience with the audience. The session is now open for discussion. The audience can now ask questions.
Please feel free and please make it informal also if you want.
Yeah, we'll. This is Georgit Ghosh. I'm the HOD of Production Engineering Department.
Right, sir.
Yeah, I'll start with a very informal way by saying that we have came a long way from the comments of Vishwabandhu Gupta, the IT commissioner. If you remember the comment on cloud computing or cloud services. So we are much more aware of cloud computing and cloud services. And really, your talk was very intuitive and subjective and very interesting to listen. Particularly because I am not very technical in Oracle and other these technologies. So, but I found it very, very interesting and interesting to listen. But few queries I have, I would like to ask you, if you may address, please.
Yes, please.
How important is this cloud-based technologies for Industry 4.0?
Very important. So important that the country is looking at even doing a policy change, for that matter, I am telling you. So for industries which were very, very sensitive industries, for which the government had absolutely stamped on saying that no, everything has to be done inside in your own premise, the data doesn't have to go out at all. So in those industries also we are seeing a policy change because of the kind of scale that you can achieve, the kind of flexibility that you have, the kind of innovation that is happening. Because the holy grail of entire AI and ML is the maximum data exposure that you have. So ML works only on the volume of data that you have. If you restrict it to a particular industry or for your particular company, it will not give you probably a model which will benefit you in future. But imagine that hundreds of your kind of industry is having a data on the cloud, and ML is working on those hundreds of industries. So that is where the accuracy comes. That is where the model accuracy comes. That is where the ML proficiency basically increases if you give it more exposure to many such kind of a data, which can only be possible in a public cloud or a cloud kind of an environment.
We have been seeing that many technologies particularly this software, that is CAD software, CE software. They're also going for this cloud-based technology so that the same design team from across the world can work
Absolutely.
together and come up with a solution.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. This is exactly the reason.
And I personally feel that as a production engineer, as an industrial engineering students, we should also adopt and try to learn about such technologies, which will be, I think, the future. So as such, your lecture was,
I
as
would
such,
say here, sir, because production engineering is all about machine data. You will come across many such machine data, and that is why I purposely took the example of oil and gas upstream data, because I interact and many manufacturing companies, car manufacturing and other companies' data that you look at. Very interesting. I'll give you a story here. So Toyota, in the year, I think year and a half back, they recalled 66 million cars back. They called them back after selling it. There was a problem in gearbox or something, and they were not able to, actually make it out. Keep Where is the problems coming from? Everything's fine, but still there is a problem. Finally, when they moved to cloud, and they were like, public cloud. So there is a study also by them saying that when we moved our data to cloud, it could actually accurately predict that where this breaking problem is actually coming from. It was just coming from a very small part of fuel injection where it was not properly giving a fuel or something of that sort. But this is where the importance of production data is coming. If you talk about the companies which are producing machine data, as I told you earlier, that they're not the kind of data that were looked upon very seriously, because there was no mechanism to analyze it on a continuous basis and make sense out of it. But today, if you look at where companies are going, especially in the IoT space, it is massive. So anybody who's pursuing this engineering, so please don't take me wrong, AI and ML is pervasive. It is not specific to you are doing a civil engineering or you are doing a mechanical engineering or production engineering. It is a pervasive technology which is there in every part of your life. Even if you do production, it has to be there. So the industry is going toward that direction, and I would encourage everybody to inculcate these things in their own set of studies, because that will increase their understanding of where the technology is going in the future.
exactly, sir, exactly. So one more question: how do you suggest that our students would be able to learn about these technologies so that they can be using these such technologies in their future career? How
So
to
there
go
are
about it actually?
many courses that are available. Plus, also there are companies who are doing. So I would suggest, sir, that have a tie-up with any of the big production companies. They have their own university. So if I talk about the big oil companies, they have their own set of educational institute where they exactly they do a lot of R&D there also. So have a tie-up with such institute. I will also facilitate. I'll help if you ask our help, so that your student can go and spend a week there. And they also encourage. That's what I have seen. That those industries also encourage them to come there for 15 days course or something like that, and spend time there and learn something on the run. So this is what you can do. Plus, there are many courses which are there. Many technology companies are providing these kind of courses. You go to probably Oracle University, you will find many such courses. Many of them may be free also, or any of it. If you want my help in any sort of way where I can help out in taking the education to the students, I'll be the most happiest.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We'll definitely take your help, and the student can definitely look for such courses, and they have to upgrade themselves. The technology is moving towards cloud-based technology, and and cloud-based technology is an important aspect of, as far as I know, Industry 4.0.
So I would just say to everybody, always go by the philosophy. Always go by why it is happening, why something is happening, why it is happening. So if you, like I gave an example of community. Where did Facebook and these kind of a people had this kind of a following and they became what they became in such a short span of time? It is because they gave an experience which humans probably craved for. They gave a platform for them, for a normal individual to be recognized. For example, if you talk, it's a very hilarious thing, but if you talk about TikTok, it has given freedom to people, even people who have a talent at a village level also, to have a massive following. So the everything is getting centered around individuals, whether it is technology. We could only survive COVID because of technology, if you frankly ask me. You could only do your course, we could only do our meetings or whatever business that we could do. It was because of technology that we could do. And entire thing is going towards consumers. So earlier the consumers were cased into a particular segment, but now everything is like coming together, and the consumer is becoming the center point of everything. So whenever one thinks of anything in terms of technology, where it is going, what is happening, they should also look at around them what is happening. उनके आसपास क्या हो रहा है, कैसे हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है. Probably that is an idea that I would advise, that I would like to give, that always think beyond, always ask why this is happening, why something happening, and why we are able to overcome it in such a short span of time. That will give a lot of answer actually.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bappa, please.
Bappa, before you start, let me share some my experience with Saurabh ji. Let me introduce the people that Saurabh ji is not only heading a big company, but he is also very spiritually enlightened. And what he has said in the last one, I think it is the due to that only, that he is very spiritually enlightened. He is in a very big, what you can say, place in the Sredi Sai association, and many temples or many of the, what you can say, social work which we are finding, he is one of the brain, or you can say driver behind them. Saurabh ji,
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir,
I was not expecting this, that it will be said on this platform, but
no,
anyway, thank you so much for the praise. I mean, God is kind. God has been very, very kind on me, that I got an exposure. It's not only about Baba. It's, I think, Baba is a symbol. Everybody has their own symbols. I love Ramakrishna Paramhans like anything. I still get goosebumps reading him, reading about him actually. There are many. It only gives you perspective. It only gives you probably a different perspective, that how you should look at certain things in a way. Or I would also suggest something to you very, very informally. This is an informal discussion that we are having. Don't look at employability from how much package that you are getting off campus. It is a very wrong way to look at it. If you may ask me, I joined a company. I will tell you my story because I can only tell you something which I have experienced. I joined a company from IMT. It was a very, very small company, probably not even a company. It was probably a house housing 25 odd people. They were doing something on a technology called SAS. It was a statistical analytical technology at that time. And somehow it interested me, and somehow it when they came to our campus, no one was willing to sit in that particular company. I was also a good student, so I mean I could have chosen to ignore that and probably gone to a bigger ones. But I chose that company because it was offering me a technology which was very interesting technology. They were working for Southwestern Airlines, and they were doing those analysis based on flight information and all those things. Worked there for 2 years, learned the basic tenets of SaaS. Then people Then American Express approached us at that time that would you like to come on board? We are doing a similar thing here as far as credit card underwriting is concerned. Then I went to American Express. There also I was doing fine. I never looked for jobs like, I mean, it's kind of a mission or something like that. I was very okay. Suddenly, there was some work in Accenture Consulting approached us. And then this is how, so basically what I'm trying to say, then we gradually learn many things, many such technologies along the way, and then learn the business side of it, why technology gives you a reward that it does, why probably a forecasting modeling kind of a stuff gives you a higher reward, why employability or salary wise it is on a higher side. So you have to look on those things also, and be flexible. Be very, very flexible. Don't get into a straight jacket saying that I have to मुझे यही करना है और ऐसे ही करना है. I could see some hands raised.
Dr. Samul Datta want to ask something.
Oh, sir, please.
Dr. Datta, can you hear me? Okay, anyone from audience, if you want to interact?
Okay, this is Ellen Patnaik. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a question for you, and I think you can answer it properly because you are working in Oracle. See, when these technologies, this Industry 4.0 technology will be accessible to small companies, SMEs, because as I know, the kind of consultancy fee that Oracle, Accenture are having, it is not affordable to small scale industries. So am I right?
No. So, sir, basically, as I told you, as a philosophy, every company has to bend. Earlier, every company was into profit maximization. So they were making products for 20% of the world, and 80% के लिए वो लोग कोई सोचते नहीं थे. So 20% enterprise के लिए solution बनाना है, 20% big companies के लिए solution बनाना है. So everybody was focused into making something for that privileged 20% of the population of the world, because that would have given them the maximum revenue. But since the advent of, I would say, the value creation of this social platforms became humongous, and since internet and information started getting democratized in a way that it is now, none of the companies can afford to go in that fashion anymore. They have to look at everybody, and for that, even Oracle or Accenture, or for that matter, everybody, they have all the flavors catering to all the segment or 360-degree view of the, I would say, the industry that we have.
That means, do you think these small companies, they can afford to have your consultants?
So Oracle is not into consultancy. We are into products actually, but consultancy wise also, yes, we can do. I have worked in PwC and I know for sure. So PwC has three strands the way they work. One for these kind of companies. The other ones they also have Booz Consulting, which they acquired. Unofficially, I can give you a number that how much they charge. They charge astronomically high.
Yes.
I mean, so the kind of resource that they will put for a Booz consultancy would be higher, but they have a different flavor also.
Actually, see the kind of papers we are reading, and I'm finding that one of the barriers of this implementation of Industry 4.0 in Indian industries is particularly this. There is a kind of, I mean, they can't afford it. First of all, the small companies are facing a problem to afford it because they, for example, this cloud-based technology or IoT or CPS, these things are just in book for them. So do you think in near future it will be forwarded easily?
Sir, I will tell you for the fact that the way the industry is moving. As I told you, that nobody can afford to ignore it. If they ignore it, they are gone. If you're talking about cloud technology, it's already very cheap. So any SME today, any SME for that matter, can have cloud technologies of reputed companies, so-called multinational companies, and there are national companies, such as if you go to the Mighty site, you will find that there are 10 Indian vendors. You take the rate from them, and you will be just be so pleased that ki kya de rahe hai. So that is where the revolution is coming. These SMEs or SMBs are getting empowered to launch something at a very low cost. And this is where the cloud is helping them. Earlier, if you ask them that to probably buy 50 lakhs of equipment worth of servers and other stuff for their office work, they would have had to take probably a loan to start off with. Today, that is not necessary at all. Even desktop as a service today, laptops as a service today, you name it. If somebody wants to start their journey, today we have, I recall it correctly, last year we had 29 unicorns in India alone. How these companies are growing? If you talk about Zomato, they are, sir, I have seen your Paytm guy, Mr. Vijay Shankar. So I'll tell you a very interesting story. So we were doing a deal with MTNL at the time. MTNL was very, very powerful at that time. And I'm talking about 2008 or 9. And I was meeting with one of the general managers there, and I saw a guy who was sitting on the bench outside. And he used to sit there every day, every time that I used to visit that person, that officer. And one day I deliberately asked that officer that, why is this person always sitting outside? Why don't you call him in? And then he said that, yeah, every time he comes with the idea that payment will be cashless and all those things, and we can do payments through phone and all. How is it possible? ये possible ही नहीं हो सकता. कितना दिमाग लगाऊं उसके साथ ये वो करके. And then this is where Vijay Shankar was in 2008 or 9. And this is where he is today. So everything has a timing. When the time comes, I think everything happens. These big companies, so-called big companies, they have to change, and they will change. They will jolly well have to change, and they will change also. So to answer your question, yes, SMBs and SMEs, for them, especially the procurement of technology is much more cheaper than it used to be earlier.
Yes.
Can I add here?
Yes, sir.
The Amazon sellers, they are also, I think, this technology, Amazon technology is cloud-based technology, probably, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So they are also using such technologies to sell their products. So although they are a seller, but they are also small players which are using probably the Amazon services.
Sir, Amazon is a technology company. It's not a platform company at all. It's not. So if you ask Jeff Bezos that what is Amazon, he will tell you that it is a technology company. It's not a company that it has become or have become in the market right now. So yes, I mean Amazon. They all have cloud portfolios, and Amazon is one of the early movers in cloud, and they're probably way ahead. Right.
Okay, sir.
Sir, how
so cloud is nothing but everything is, for example, when you get to an scale, so economics, everything has to reach to Pareto efficiency if you are students of economics. So the moment you start getting that kind of a scale, everything starts becoming affordable. We can see from the example of data cost that we used to pay at one point in time, and today where we are, especially after coming off Geo and other players. So this is what the scale does, and it is coming 5G. I think it will be even better. After 5G implementation, the cost of ownership of technology will be still much more start getting cheaper again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shomak sir has raised, I think
Professor Datta, can you?
I think it has been inadvertently raised.
Oh, inadvertently raised. Okay. Any other students, if they want to ask anything, they can. They are most welcome. Or you can ask me offhand also. Just send me a message. Wherever I can be of help, I will be most willing to help.
So here we are going to end this session. So on behalf of Department of Production and Industrial Engineering, and on my own behalf, I thank Sri Vats for accepting our invitation and delivering such a wonderful talk.
Thank you so much, sir. It's been a privilege. Thank you, everybody. Binay sir, especially thank you to you, because you're the one who encouraged me.
Thank you, sir. On my personal behalf and on behalf of the department and the institute, I would like to really thank you for such a wonderful talk. And it was really nice interacting with you.
Sir, I am your boy sitting in Delhi, so I am your beck and call whenever you need me. You want me.
Thank you so much. So kind of you.
I come from Jharkhand itself, so I am your boy sitting here. So
okay, we would like you to visit our campus, and we would like to meet you personally, definitely.
Sure, sir, sure. So Jharkhand is also one of the states that I am looking at. So definitely, sir, I will definitely.
Okay, you are most welcome, sir, anytime.
Sure, sir.
To our department and to the institute. Just give a call before coming, and we'll arrange everything for you. No issues.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And any help for students or
anybody? Okay, yeah. Just one point, sir.
Right.
For internship, actually, our students find it sometimes difficult to get placed in good companies for internship. So, what are the scopes available at particularly in your divisions for internship?
Sir, Oracle does not give you internship as such because I don't think we have internship policy as such, because many people come to me when we interact with industry for internships. But internship ke liye we have certain companies which I can personally reach in the industry. That should not be a problem. So there are many companies who give internships, and I would connect you to them.
Okay, sir. That will be great help, sir. Thank you so much.
Bilkul.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll
so much,
definitely like to meet you and listen to once again. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
So here I also appreciate the audience for their active participation. Yes. Today's session has come to an end. We will see you at our next event, which will have a different theme and speaker. Till then, goodbye.
Thank you, Saurabh ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day.